Aloha. Let's try one more time. Aloha. Aloha. 大家好，我是 Daniel Ho. And that's all the Chinese I know. Well, I'm very happy to be here and excited to share with you some music and a little about my life's journey, which has led me here to Beijing. But first, I'd like to start with a song. And this is a song I wrote about life in Hawaii called Living in Paradise. And Hawaii is a very beautiful place to live, but it isn't easy to make ends meet. It isn't easy to make a living because the cost of living is very high, and a lot of times we have to have 2, sometimes 3 jobs just to pay our bills. In my case, I left, and I moved to Los Angeles, which is nice and all, but Hawaii is very beautiful, and it's okay because we have beautiful blue sky and wonderful weather, and we're living in paradise. What they used to be. I work 3 times as hard. The car's rusting in the yard. My house ain't worth half what it used to be. Things are changing all around. The market's up, the market's down. But hey, we're living in paradise, and it's cool, cool, cool. Yeah. I got the sun in my eyes. Dreaming on a clear blue sky. Thank you. 谢谢. So I took an interest in music at a very early age. I think I was about 6 or 7 years old when I studied the organ. My teacher suggested I try different instruments and see how I like them. I played bass. That's a joke. That's me playing bass, the organ pedals, anyway. But I also learned other instruments like classical guitar and piano and bass and drums and percussion and voice, and never got good at anything. But one of the instruments that we all played growing up in Hawaii was the ukulele. This is an ukulele. And the very first song I learned how to play was called Song for Anna, which went like this. So that was the first song I learned how to play on ukulele. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and it was the only song I knew how to play for 2 years. And I didn't even know the whole song. I just knew the first part of the song, and I would play it over and over and over again. And I drove my family absolutely crazy. I would walk around the house and play this song. Just walk around in circles, playing the same 8 bars. Because with an ukulele, you can actually walk around and practice, which is one of the wonderful things about this instrument. Can't do that with a piano. So I'd walk through the kitchen, and then I'd walk down the hallway. And at the end of my hallway, there was a mirror, a long mirror. And I'd look up and play my ukulele, and I'd see myself playing ukulele in the mirror. And I thought to myself, wow, I'm pretty cool. And it was at that moment that I realized I want to be a musician. I don't want to be a fireman or a policeman. I want to be a musician. So around the age of 8 or 9 years old, I took up surfing. And surfing is another thing we all do in Hawaii. And I used to surf 5 days a week. Every day after school, my father would take us surfing. And I surfed so much, I was in the sun so much, my hair was orange from sun-bleached hair. And my skin was so dark. I'm Cantonese, so my skin can get very, very dark. So dark, in fact, that at night, you could only see my teeth and my eyeballs. When I got to high school, I had a little bit of ability in a number of different instruments, but I wasn't really good at anything. I had the great fortune of meeting this incredible band director. His name is Ray Wessinger, and he had come from Los Angeles, retired from a career at NBC, and assistant music director at MGM, where he did all the big musicals, like worked with the Beatles and all these big productions and wrote music. And he played in Stan Kenton's band, which is a very famous big band. And he took me under his wing and he mentored me and told me, if you want to be a musician, you have to do exactly as I say. So I did exactly what he said. He said, you're not good at playing any instruments. I'm like, oh, okay. He said, so the best way to utilize your knowledge is to study composition, which means writing music. And that way you can use your knowledge in all these different instruments and put it together as a writer. And so I did, and this image here is Ray Wessinger directing our high school big band. And when I was a freshman, about 14 years old, I was writing arrangements for the big band. And I really enjoyed it. So this is a very important point in my life where I went to focus. I changed the direction and I focused on being a composer. Now there are a lot of benefits to writing music, not just playing music, but actually creating it. The first thing is you play a little more knowledgeably because you understand your instrument in context to all the instruments around you, whether it would just be ukulele and piano, or if I were playing with an orchestra or a band with bass and drums and so on. I understand my instruments function in harmony and melody and rhythm. So you become a better player. The second benefit is that you're able to lead a band because you understand how all the pieces fit together. But the most important thing about being a writer is the creation of intellectual property. And intellectual property is an original song that you can publish and earn royalties for when you're not working. So it's what we call a passive income. As a player, a ukulele player or a piano player, we go and we do a gig and we work and we play the gig and we get paid for that performance. And then we hopefully, work the next day. So it's kind of a $1 per hour kind of job. But with writing, we can actually earn money while we're sleeping, which is very nice. My transition from student to professional happened in Los Angeles. I moved after high school to Los Angeles to go to music school, the Grove School of Music, where I studied film composing. And in 1990, after graduating from school, I started a publishing company called Daniel Ho Creations and started publishing music, original music. And within about 6 years' time, I had earned just enough money to start a record label. And the record label afforded me the valuable experiences of working in the studio, of playing and recording and mixing and mastering and doing graphic designs, CD covers, and working with Photoshop and manufacturing, like understanding what the requirements were to manufacture CDs and cassettes, and a little bit about marketing. But it was also the beginning of developing a brand, Daniel Ho Creations, which is the company that I started way back when, before most of you were born. The second pivotal point in my life was when I met Lydia. At that moment, I realized the value of working with great people and the synergy and the amazing things you can do together. She was in law school, so she's a fantastic writer, a great eye for photography and a good business sense, and she has a disorder called OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. Do you guys know what that is? It's where everything has to be perfect. So if she does something, it's absolutely perfect. And it's completely opposite of the work that I'm used to, where everything is wrong all the time. In fact, Lydia and we never fight because she's always right and I'm always wrong. So it's a given, an understanding that we have. And we've since gotten married, and in the last 10 years together, 2005 to 2015, we managed to win 6 Grammys and get 14 nominations in various categories of music. And keep in mind, all of these recordings are done in our house, and we store the CDs in our garage. And we publish the books on an Apple, a Macintosh, a little laptop. So we've done a lot of work, and we just work for ourselves, and there's only 2 of us. And it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun because everything is creative, from the visual to the audio and DVDs and so on. So Here are some images of books that we've published, songbooks and instructional books, none of which you can find in China. But I hope so someday. The Grammys helped us develop a brand, and so we've got a lot of opportunities from people asking us to record their records and do things with them. One of the projects that came up is this record called Kai Palawa, which is a benefit for our oceans. And I wrote this original Hawaiian slack key guitar piece called Kai Palawa, which in Hawaiian means the whale sea. So this here is a Hawaiian slack key guitar. I'm just kidding. This is a Yamaha. Made right here in China, actually, in Guangzhou, or where their factory is. And it's a wonderful instrument. But Hawaiian slack key guitar is a traditional way of playing where we tune the guitar to open strings. In my quest for a unique artistic voice, I came up with my own slack key tuning called the G Kilauea tuning. And I won't get too much into the music technical part, but what I did was tune these bottom 3 strings down a whole step. So this is how a guitar is normally tuned. And I lowered these 3 strings down a whole step. So the pitches are D, D, G, C, G, B, and E. And what that does is allows me to use many open strings. And actually, the goal of playing stringed instruments is to use as many open strings as possible. That's why we play in certain keys in guitar, like E, A, D, G, and certain keys on ukulele like C, F, and G, because the instruments are tuned that way, or pipa, we play in A and D. The theme of this piece, Kai Palawa, I used a harmonic element. There are 3 elements to music: harmony, melody, and rhythm. And this theme focuses on the harmonic aspect of music. And I used, for the theme, the most dissonant interval in music. Does anyone know what the most dissonant interval in music is? Anyone? That's right, the half step. So the half step sounds like this. So you hear those beats moving? That's called dissonance. The most consonant interval in music, on the other hand, is a unison. So you hear how it sounds very smooth and pretty? And this sounds kind of ugly. But within the context of a chord, a half step can be very beautiful. So I use the half step to represent man, our relationship with our oceans and sea life, how we're not always taking care of our oceans and sea life. And I use the context of the chord to make it beautiful with the hope that we will do a better job at it in the future. You'll notice in this song that the melody goes up and down like a whale breaching the ocean. I hope you like it. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. Now, the third significant turning point in my life was when I met Win Music. And we met through the Grammys. And Win Music had the idea to blend island cultures, the island of Taiwan and the island of Hawaii. The idea is that the Australasian people, which came from around the island of Taiwan, down through all the islands and through Hawaii as far as the Easter Island, there's a real similarity in our cultures and the way we look and our music and our language and so on. They invited me to visit Taiwan for the first time a few years ago and meet many of the Aboriginal tribes. And it was an incredible experience. And we did an album called On a Gentle Island Breeze. And my role in the project was to take the Aboriginal music of Taiwan beyond the shores of the island to the US and the rest of the world. And in exchange, I learned a lot about the culture and people. So it was an amazing experience. And as I had mentioned earlier, the synergy of working with amazing people, like-minded people, with positive energy is you can do great things together. So in the last 3 years, together with Win Music, we were able to win 3 Golden Melody Awards in Taiwan and also 2 Grammy nominations with these 3 projects. And if you see here in the bottom left-hand corner, the movie star supermodel receiving the award is none other than Judy here, who introduced me. She's behind the Ishi sign. So I'd like to play for you a song, the title cut of the CD, On a Gentle Island Breeze. And this photo is of the rice fields in Taitung, the very first place we visited, the island of Taiwan. And in this song, I try to score the movement of wind through the rice fields, how it blows the stalks of rice, and it stops, and it starts, and it moves in unison, and it moves in counterpoint. And so you'll hear a little bit about how the melodies move in counterpoint and the phrasing and so on. Another song I wrote for the project is called Amis Rondo. And this song focuses on the melodic aspect of music. I use a very simple theme. It's only 3 notes. And it goes like this. Pretty boring, huh? I wrote this song in the key of A minor. A-M-I, and I did that because Amis is spelled A-M-I-S, and I'm just super clever that way. And with this theme, I try to play it in different parts of the ukulele and change it every time. So every time you hear it, it'll happen in a different part of the instrument and be slightly different. And I wrote this song about a particular Ami sculptor named Gila Heads, who's a very powerful personality. Like Bruce Lee. You guys heard of Bruce Lee, right? Like he's kind of like that. And so to capture that energy in music, I use what is called an arpeggio, which is breaking up a chord into individual notes. It sounds like this. So here is the Amis Rondo. Thank you. So in my travels around the world, I had a song called Pineapple Mango, which I wrote in music school. A very simple song with only 3 chords, G, C, and D, that became somewhat of a ukulele anthem. So I'd just like to play a little bit of this song for you and show you a little bit of a video of people all over the world playing this very simple tune. Here's a little bit of a video of people playing it. Pineapple, mango. Pineapple, mango. Lili koi alani, lili koi alani, lili koi alani, e inu ikawai. Thank you. So finally, I'd just like to share with you a little bit about my philosophy about music. And that is, I found the greatest success when I did music that I really believed in and felt passionate about. Early on in my career, I was told to write a song that sounds like this because it's really popular. You know, doing sound-alikes, like, hey, write like Taylor Swift because she just had a song that was a big hit, and use that rhythm. And that didn't really work very well. When I wrote things that I believed in, I think the audience felt that connection and sincerity. So that was a very important thing that I learned. The next thing is that every note counts. It doesn't matter how loud it is or how soft it is or how fast or how slow. Even the spaces between the notes are very important. You play it with conviction and intent. And finally, seeing a note through from beginning to end. So understanding the process of creation from a blank piece of paper, composing something, a piece of music that is interesting and structured and thematic and beautiful, playing it on an instrument or singing it is very important to have it performed the way you would like it to be performed. Understanding about recording, sound, tone, making something sound beautiful, and recording and mixing and mastering is also very important. And with the knowledge in these different areas, you can actually create music that you believe that is actually your real intent. And I found the happiness in music and in life is very similar. And that is for me to wake up in the morning and do whatever it is I feel inspired to do that day, whether it be writing a song or practicing or taking a nap, because I'm still tired and go back to sleep. That to me is living in paradise. Try to keep my life very simple and live that way. Today is very significant to me because I am 100% Chinese. And I was born and raised in Hawaii, and I have lived most of my life in Los Angeles. My grandparents passed away at a very young age, and I don't know how to speak Chinese, but I also don't know any of my relatives in China, and I don't know where I am from in China. So that music has brought me all the way around the world back here to China, which is like a homecoming to me today. So thank you. Thank you, Ishi, for this opportunity to share my music with all of you, and thank you all for listening. And I'd like to leave you with one more song, song I wrote on my piano CD, called Ekahe Malie, which in Hawaiian means flowing gently.